Morning, goedemorgen, guten Tag. Bonjour. How about that one? What would you say in English? Bloody hell are you? Morning, Martin. Yeah, shouldn't wish our lives away, but yep, I hear you. On Mr. Senyatsi, Mr. Senyatsi, if I pronounce that right. Just gonna wait for 4:30. That's 4:30. Oh, fine. That's talk. Just said, don't wish your life away. I'm saying 4:30. Yeah. Yeah. Just wait for 9:30. Thank you. Yeah. I often give people a good old laugh and I try and pronounce difficult names. Thank goodness I haven't got a lot of Hungarian or Greek clients, then we'd really have some fun. Or Polish. There, what to me. Try and pronounce Polish names. Well, I'll pass and get started. Yeah, I see the goals give me some jip. I expect some dollar strength. Unfortunately, it sneaked back below 105 on the dollar index. So yeah, it seems to be hovering a little bit higher up. I'm just hoping that area's there. As you see, I've got the resistance there. I'm just hoping that's going to hold. Keep your fingers crossed. I don't think a lot of guys actually took that trade in the end, which looking back probably good. Because I did mention yesterday afternoon, I thought that's going to come off. Dollar strength, I still believe it's going to be coming forward. It's popped up a few dollars. So probably you were wiser than me on that one if you didn't take it. But I still see downside, and I still see, in fact, quite frankly, I've got a better entry here. If you hadn't taken the gold, you're not already in it, and you want to do it, I'd even take it. I'm seeing a sell here. We put the stop. Don't modify your stop above 1850 or in with a stop at 1848. But new trade, we can definitely put it above 1850 and take some downside potential. Okay. Well, if you're asking, Morris, well, that means it is giving us some jip because you're doing it a lot. So yeah, that's a big question. I see the dollar index has come off a tad, but it's not exactly drastic. It's still reasonably high compared to the last couple of weeks or so. I still see the dollar strength creeping in. It's having a bit of a problem getting moving, but it's not seemed to have fallen enough. I think it's trying to move back up again. So I'm just hoping that's going to hold that line I've got on the chart there in that horizontal line. I don't know about you, Morris. What do you think? If the guys are not in, I'd see a sell on this one at market, and we could have a stop above 1850. Because even if it pops up, I think 1850 is getting the line in the sand. I don't know what's going to drive the dollar back below 104 personally. If you're all in, that's a different story. What do you think? I think it's a possibility here. Well, we did okay out of those spikes. What do you think, guys? Yeah, I still think even if it pops up a bit more, I think 1850 is going to hold. Yeah, well, because you're really, should we say, disciplined on this. Just to hear you a bit supportive there, Anna Marie. We'll have a look at it anyway. Just going to put it back on the daily. I think we can put the stop up definitely above 1850. See what I'm doing up here. Is it too far up there? It's too far. Maybe 1855. I should do it. And then the TP we can put back down here somewhere. I think we'll stick with the 1810 mark. Not the 1812 like the overture, but the 18. Plenty of risk to reward and only 20 bucks, 22 bucks a micro. Obviously, if you're in, unless you want to go in more and you can afford it, add to the position if you want, if you can afford it. Otherwise, yeah. Unless somebody out there believes dollar weakness, but I don't see why that should have come about. Don't see what any fundamental indicator giving that. So yeah, I think that's a possibility to start off that. We'll do yours in a minute, Gerard, which you mentioned this morning. Just want to look at this first. Any comments? Start off the Friday morning, hopefully in a good mood. I'm just gonna mute you all because you hear some background noise there, which is not related to the trading room. But finally, anybody wants to chat, just please let me know. Of course, please, Anne-Marie, anybody wants to chat, just let me know and I'll stop you. It takes 2 seconds to do that. I think everybody I see it look a familiar name. I've all got the dollar index link and the economic calendar link. But if I'm wrong, just let me know and I'll copy and paste it on the chat line for you to say, but it is important. Roger, great job. I need to know with my GBPNZ. I went for sell, the trade went down to my TP, but didn't close the order. And then it's closed at 2 hours later, say yeah, my stop leaving that was nowhere near. I thought, my goodness gracious, I'm a bit of a loss. What the heck happened there? Okay, I'll come to that in a minute, Brenton. I don't know on that, but I'll have a look and come up with a couple of ideas anyway. So anybody want to do this one who was not already in? Just let me know. If not, I'm going to take it off. Just give it a second for you guys to do that. Don't forget, if you want the link for your economic calendar or the yields or the 10 or the the dollar index or anything like that, just let me know. So do you want to move on? Nobody wants to take this. Either I've got it already or I haven't got a free margin. I don't want to get it. Can't move on. Right. Let's have a look now. Sometimes the first part, if let's say you're selling, you sell on, you took it. Thought you might, Anne-Marie. It looks quite good, I agree. If you're selling, that's called the spread. So if you're selling, you get into this price and you get out of that. You probably know that. I'm just going to repeat it. Just bear with me. So sometimes you'll see the spike on the chart getting to 1842.50 for argument's sake on the chart where your TP is. But you're still going to be in because on a sell, that level has got to get to 1842.50 before it takes you in. So in other words, that could be the bid or the sell price, but the buy price, the spread would be say 1806. Still be in. If you get to 1805 and there, and you're still in, it means your buy price didn't get there. However, I don't know why I should suddenly a couple of them stop you out, unless you modified. Sometimes you put the TP in, it's too close, and you modify your stop too close, and you get knocked out. We've had a few people coming into that. Why does that happen? We check on the journal because that records everything. Every time you go in, what time you go, everything's recorded there. Some big brother, you know what I mean? Everyone's heard the George Orwell book, 1984. And to find they modified the stops so close, the noise knocked it out, and then they come down again. But you shouldn't, if you got your, let's say you got your, what are the data? Yeah, let's say your stop loss is here. Sorry, your TP is here if you're going there. Didn't quite get boxed up, and your stop loss is up there. It won't in a couple of minutes. I'd be a seriously radical fundamental coming out for that to happen. I hope that that's sort of come close to it. But if you're more experienced a trader and it clearly didn't modify the stop loss or the TP, the spread might have been the answer got that close. But if you came $2 below the TP and you didn't pick in, and then when it stops you out with nowhere near it, and you weren't margin called, I don't know what your margin is. You might have been margin called before it got to the stop loss, you didn't have enough free margin to maintain the position. That would be another cause. Then I suggest you email Jark email him Jark db12 at quicktrade.co. JACUQUE, yes, you know how you spell Jark. Jark DB, that's the Delta Bravo, Jark Delta Bravo, Jark DB12 at quicktrade.za, and then question it. But just check those three things I mentioned before you do that. Okay, I can't check that myself at this moment, Brent, because I'm always in the trading room. But if it is a hassle on the MetaTrader side, you will be sorted. Don't you worry about that. I want to mention that to a lot of guys. Well, we get a lot of guys saying, "Oh, we're scammed with this, that, and the other." I mean, look at their accounts. They've got a few $100 in it. I can promise you faithfully, a multi-million-dollar business, multi-million rand business in South Africa now, is not going to risk losing their license to scam you out of a few $100. I'm not saying we all haven't got our price. Mine's about 50 million, by the way. So yeah, if you want me to commit a felony, as long as I'm not too scared to go to prison, I might look at 50 million. Being slightly facetious. I'm trying to point that out. Okay, so 99.99999% of the time, it's usually an inexperienced trader who haven't got the knowledge, hasn't bought a course, hasn't done any studying or research on it, and is floundering in the dark. He knows a guy's trying to drive a motor car when he hasn't paid for one lesson, just hops in and hopes for the best, and then blame the car when he has a car crash. That's 90% of the time. Yeah, so just bear that in mind. But Brenton, if you've trained for a while, you know what I'm talking about. That's not the issue. You can just email him, and he's very good. He'll get onto it and sort it. If it's our problem, or our problem, basically, they'll look after you. But they will check the journal and make sure first. Okay. Oh, well, you can check for a year, then you know the score. I'm sorry, Brendan, I've always got to check that out. You know what I'm saying? Because 90% of it is just complete, utter lack of knowledge. Even the most basic basics are not known. So I have to make sure the obvious is sorted. You know, my car's not working. Somewhere on mechanics, fine. Got to check, see you've got run out of petrol job. So I'm not trying to be, so just got to cover those basics first. But if you trade, you know the score. So just Jark DB12 at Quick Trade. He'll check the journal. If it's their fault, or Quick Trade fault, or our fault, or whatever, they'll sort you. And if it's yours, then you know the reason why. So if you do that, I can't do that now because I'm here. Okay. All right. Hope to sort you on that one. Okay. I'll see how the gold goes. We'll come back and check it later on, but I won't come off anyway. A lot of people are already in it. Before we check the old trades, Gerard, I think he's with us at the moment. Just a second. Came up with a trade this morning to look at, and I said I'll look at it again just now when we get in the trading room. We got confirmation. He was looking at a long on this one. European CAD is a long. I think it was a long. EURAUD. Sorry, wrong one. EURAUD. Doesn't look right. But looks at that. It looks strange. Right. He was looking here at a long round about these levels, if you remember just now. Okay. And I mentioned that rather wait for some buyers. I mean, if you want to short it and it's there and all you see is green, there's no buyers, the momentum's still up. Even though it might be a resistance, it could break through. So you need to see a bit of a pullback or confirmation. In other words, you want to see some sellers coming in to push it down to join them. You don't want to be the pioneer sticking your head out if the momentum is still going in that specific direction, whether it be up or down. So it looks like we might be having some buyers coming in, as you can see there. I'm going to put on the hour to get a better picture. It's now 9:40. What time do you call me? It's about an hour or so ago, maybe a little bit longer. So it's right about here. It did pop below and it's starting to go back up again. I personally think it might be an idea to get a little bit more confirmation. Try the 4 hour. It's looking like this is going to hold. Clearly on the 4 hour in the buy area, as you can see, and clear on the day as well. And I'm happy with the euro. It's fairly strong against the AUD. I have no problem with that. They're fairly even, Stephen. I have no problem with that. Clearly the buyers it's in a strong zone. I just think maybe we should wait for a little bit more confirmation. That's my take on it. What do you think, Gerard? Your idea? 57.46. Oh, you buy stop. Okay, fair enough. 57.46. Yeah, just above this noise here on the out chart. I take where you're coming from. In fact, it's even better. Oh, I get it. You're talking about the out chart just above the 100-day moving average. That's pretty. I quite like that, to be honest. Now, the only problem with that is got to make sure if you do get into that figure, I'm just going to put it down so I'm going to refer to it. Have we got enough upside to make it worthwhile? So put it around about that level there. Go back to the daily. Seemed to make sense to me. I don't think hard, guys. But we can aim here. How far is that? 70. It's not going to cut it. You maybe need to aim about here. We get the upside to there. And then you can put your stop maybe down here. Maybe pushing it a bit there, but maybe down here. Something like that. We can look at it then. But I'm quite fascinating. I quite like that, actually. I think I'm going to go along with that one, Gerard. Oh, you agree as well. I've seen it. I've got two screens, so I was putting the chart on the other screen. Okay, so we're happy on that, and I tend to agree as well. So we're all happy. So keep it on that. Now, I hate to say it, Mr. Slubber, it's your idea. I'm chucking the response onto you to remind me if it starts getting that level. Please remind me if it's before, obviously, before 11 o'clock, and then we'll revisit that. Okay, I'm going to take it from there. Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Ed. I just want to go through the trades we got out. Some are sliding around very slow at the moment. AUD, CHF, look at this. I'll make it put me out of the one. Jumping around. It's not really getting going. It's frustrating. I'm just going to check the details here. It's been a couple of days now. It's been quite irritating. So I understand the frustration. And what price did we get into? AUD, CHF. Give me a moment. ADCHF. Yeah, 53. So we're on a bit of a profit. We've been in there now, well, 2 or 3 days. So I'll be honest, a bit frustrating, but we're in a profit. Hell, it's slow. Talk about NGAS being slow. This is really a bloody snail job, but at least in a bit of a profit. So I hope you've got enough free margins, not keeping you back from other trades. Just let it run. It's up to you. If you're so fed up with it and you've got to cover your costs, if you want to take it, you can. The sheer boredom's getting to you. But anyway, NZD CHF was the other one. That was 65 entry. I remember that well. Again, 2 or 3 days old. Again, it's only about 10 pips in profit. It's incredibly slow. Looking on the day chart, see what's happening on the day chart. Yeah, it just gave you a bit of jip there. It's coming off. It's coming there, you see, into the sell zone. But I'm not sure you should be jumping out. If you're broad stiff with it and you haven't got any free margin, you want to do something else, maybe you can. But it's looking like it might come right. I don't know. It's just that slow. It's getting very difficult. But anyway, slightly ahead of the game. Everything down. Probably now is the fact the boredom of it. Okay, we got a couple more out. CHF JPY. Hope some guys didn't get stopped out in the modification, but it's trying to get going. But anyway, it's in a profit. About 25. Just let it run. Slow, but at least it's happening. GBP NZD was another one. This was yesterday. 52 we got in at. GBP NZD. And now it's at 22-ish, 23 there, whatever. So about 25 to 30 all trending in profit. So is that right? Let me get this one. GBP NZD, yeah. 52 got in. Yeah, we've got to go up and get out on this, and that's the spreads, 28. So it's about 24, 25 in profit. It's okay. Slow, but it's okay. So they're in profit. It's just bloody slow. Gold's give us a bit of jip. Remember, it's going to come right. And just let the NAS and the Dow trade here and let them run. Okay, had a bit of a jump. That happens. Profit taking jump for coming off a bit. Okay, so I hope we're all good with that. URAUD. We're going to stop on that. We'll wait for entry first before we get cute with that one. URAUD. Getting in this figure here, we can put the stop round about this level here. We want to put them below the round number. Remember, it'll be at 57.50 or whatever, 46 or whatever it is. Call it 57.50 round figure. So we can put it down there somewhere. Maybe 56.80. There you are. Out the way, 20 pips below the round figure. And then you can take it up here. Maybe 58.80, something like that. 1.5880. Yeah, that was a micro trade. I personally can't push that a little bit. But there's only a micro, it's not a problem. I personally can go back in again. I think that personally now probably a better one to go for myself. But anyway, send it out, send it out. 33,000, I think is going to hold. I do see dollar strength coming in. I do see more turmoil in the markets, more than sunshine. I personally think that you can do a decent one on the micro using a wider stop. What's this now? Maybe a bit wider. Is that too wide? Yes, a bit too wide. Maybe up here, about 250 pips stop. It's not much, it's only about $2.50 actually. It's ridiculously low. 250, and take it back down here somewhere. I think it's a better entry now, personally. That's my opinion. Never mind, it shouldn't be much. Okay, probably get it back on this one. So make it 250 above. What was I said? 250 above that. 30, make it 32,000. Is that right? 33,000 rather, 200. And take it down here. Right about this level down here. Should be that. Make it 32,470. There we are. That can't be right. Basically, it's 32,470. That's right. 32,470. Yeah, it's a fairly wide stop. We've got that stop right, fairly wide, but $50 a micro on the Dow. If you go on the normal one, it'll be 500 micros. So just bear that in mind. But remember, I said before, just check the contract size before you go in. Contract size on this one is 1. So it's obviously 10% of the size of the contract that the Dow Jones has. Okay, that says 10. So go for the micro. Go for, if you've got an Escott bucks, of course, then you go for the big one if you want. But I think that's probably the better trade. And I hope you understand what I mean by that. It's very important. Just bear in mind, I keep telling them, I don't understand the maths of it. This is not correct. The margin is incorrect. It's not 0.002, it's 0.024. Okay, so the margin on that's about 150 bucks a micro, not 15 rand. Let's bear that in mind. Not a big deal, but I'm just saying, just point that thing on that. But I quite like this one. Anyone want to rejoin this one? Okay. Good enough. Good. Just a second, just writing it down. I wonder what the hell I'm doing. 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 2, 7, 3, 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 2, 4, 7. That's good. Okay, good enough. I think it's a great idea. It gives everyone an opportunity. The guys love the NAS, they love the Dow, but particularly the NAS. And the problem is they're not realize this specification, mathematical 10 contract size bit, and they're going in with smaller sums. And it's the right trade, but they have enough margin and getting margin called. Now, obviously, they're not happy with that, understandably. Okay, even the NASDAQ, most people are in it. Is it worth chasing for those who aren't? Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it is. It's gone back up to the round figure. Yeah. Look at this, a daily, lower lows. You can see that? Sorry, lower highs. You can see that? Lower lows. If you look at yesterday, lower highs there. So if you're not in that, if you're on the NAS, obviously you're in. If anyone's not in the NAS and they want to do the NAS trade, we can do a micro on this one if you like. Okay, so I'll put up and have a look at it, see what we can do on this one. There we go. About there. 12,250 is good enough. what's it? 1, 2, 2, 5. So you can do the. You need wide stops, which you just can't afford on the bigger one, or the bigger contract size. And then we can take it down. It's got a good chance coming down here. Is that going to be enough? Don't think it's going to be enough. That's the problem. So maybe take it down, and maybe take down here. Yeah, 11,650. There we are. Just to cover that spread area. So Brenton might know about it, and everyone know what I'm talking about. So I'll do that job for them. 45 bucks a micro. There you are, if you like that. Just so keep saying it. Don't go in again. It's just for people who haven't joined and want to do a micro. 50 on the Dow, 44 on micro risk. Clearly, you're not going to get that. No, it doesn't work. Sorry, guys. You have to bring your stop down. Otherwise, it's not going to risk reward. Okay, you only can make 70 bucks on micro, but you know, you've got to work that out, what you're comfortable with. The point is to give everyone an opportunity. I'm not keen on encouraging. If you want to do that, that's your choice. I'm not keen. I'll put it up as a buy if anyone wants it. I've stated in my case, I'm not keen, but somebody else might disagree. I'm more than happy with that. It's all about opinions, different opinions. If you're happy with that, I'm quite happy to do that. Anyone want to do a buy on in the NAS or the Dow? Joining Cozy, I'll put the stuff up for you if you want. You can't really get a bounce. To me, a bounce is 150 pips. A few pips is not a bounce, and that is very volatile. You're still just stick with it. That's good. You see what Farney's doing there? I hope I'm on the right track, Farney. Is you're running with the profitable trade. You don't be taken too quick. I don't care if you're the 20th of February, it's now the 20th of March. If you're a couple of thousand pips up, why bloody not? You know. So the Fora wants to do a buy on the NAS. Okay, well, put it up there if you want to do a buy. See how it happens. Make it interesting here. Stop down here. Put it down here. TP up there. It's done it for you. There you are. 1.94. It's done it for you. There we are. National News. Stop it wider. Just out of the way there. There we are. If you want to do that, that's 42 bucks. Anyone want to do a buy on that one can do it. Let's see how it works out. 2 people like it, so I'm going to put that down as the buy as well. But I won't put it down, most people are already in it. So yeah, just check to see how the buy and the sell work. It's a bit thin, Dirk, please, quite lightly. And remember what Dirk said there is very, very, very good point. Caused a lot of admin jip outside the TRRs, and then we've got other stuff to do, where it comes back. And they're getting it with virtually no free margin. I don't understand. You've got to have free margin, and you can't go in if your collateral disappears. Margin deposits are collateral. If you don't have collateral, they're going to close it. Remember, they're lending you the money, like the bank lends you the money to buy that car. If you don't have any deposits, or you remove the deposit or something like that, they can start calling the loan, or they're not going to lend it to you or whatever. But there you are. So you want to buy it there, you've got the sell if you want to see how they work out. But if you're in option stage, good. I'm looking at possible downside in AUD/USD. You maybe want some more confirmation. It's up to you. My only problem at the moment, the last week or so, it's been about a 50 pip range. But I think the dollar's going to strengthen a bit. And if you feel that, maybe you can look at a sell on this one. Put the stop up here, out the way. In fact, maybe slightly high. Put the stop about there. And maybe we can look for a TP down here. In fact, we can take the TP to about here. Yeah, something like that. You might want to say, right, I'd rather wait for it to break here to get some momentum. But look, this is lower than these highs. This seems to be holding. I see some downside there. Do you want to wait on this one, or do you want to be aggressive and think I'm going to create that dollar rise, which I think is going to happen? Any comments? or you're furiously doing your strategy workout. It's got a flash while you're thinking of that flash cost between from bolts, you know, it's like Uber bolt, the local bolt. It's not local, but I mean the one I use quite a lot. It said, "We're missing you, please." And I felt like they're not missing me. I think they're missing the credit card. If you're skeptical on dollar strength, Gerard, leave it. You've got to be comfortable. It mustn't be just because somebody else said so. You've got to be comfortable with it. Still, Brent's still doing okay. Hey, still above 84. Okay, if you're uncomfortable, you won't want, and nobody wants to do it, I'll move on. And the other one I'm looking at the GBP USD as a sell as well. I'm buying the dollar. If you feel uncomfortable, fair enough. Again, you might want to break through here to be more confident, or what that DXY to regain 105 to be confident. If you want to be aggressive, we can look at something like this with a TP. We'll have to break that for TP down there somewhere. Anyone prefer this one, or we want to sit on the sidelines for the time being? Because that's all I've got for the moment. Any comments, or please, as Dirk says, whether you like it or not, it's irrelevant if you haven't got enough free margin, unless you add extra funds, of course, that's up to you. Okay, we'll leave that then. Don't forget, guys, make sure you've got enough funds to take the trade. It's almost daily we're getting guys with peanuts funds trying to go in on a highly leveraged account, too big, and they're getting managed. In fact, we had one person there had about $400 in his account, and he couldn't afford to do the course, but he trade anyway. And of course, it doesn't really work for him. He's underfunded, hasn't got the knowledge, and I don't think he's got the proper equipment to do it. I mean, what's the likelihood of success with that? You know, that's where I'll be honest, I get irritated. They're just not employing common sense. They're employing I want something for nothing, off chance, flick of a coin. If you want to flick a coin, go to the casino, go like bet on red or black or something, and maybe get lucky. But yeah, you need to get to understand that. And I thought it would be common sense, but clearly ain't a lot anyway. And you've got to have basic arithmetical skills as well to understand percentage margin for what we're talking about. We look at the specification, contract size, what the margin is, what the leverage is. Those things, this is vital. You don't drive a car not knowing what that gear lever is. We wouldn't be able to. Okay. Any questions? All good? And of course, don't forget, I know it's natural for everyone to want to be on top of this as quickly as possible, but what's the old cliche? Rome wasn't built in a day. It does take time to start getting the hang of it. There's a bit more to it than just getting a signal, putting it in, away you go. Yeah. A lot of guys, again, we had a guy, I'm not going to mention names, who says the signals are rubbish. And what he was doing was he's going in as soon as he sees a bit of red. You know, the market goes up and down. He was taking it, so he's got 4 less losses. And I checked all trades, they're all in positions at the moment. But he just went up, panicked, and took it out. He got a stop loss reaching 150 rand, and he's going down about 5-6 rand, and he's panicking getting out. And said, our signals are no good. Hardly even covered his spread. It was he or her or whatever. Yeah. So you get the idea. Enter at what you want to do. You want to buy it, or you want to sell it. What do you want to do with this? It's at the 100 at the moment. Brown one's at 200. Because that's where it is at the moment. You want to enter there, whether you want to buy or sell. I'm looking for a sell. What do you want to do? Well, that's where it is now. That's what I mentioned just now. Do you want to do it then? Just look at the 4-hour first. See, it seems to be holding that level. Look at the 1 hour. Hovering, that's the only problem. 15-minute, like telling you, not much hovering, but the sales are coming in. Weekly. That's holding on the weekly as well. Might be a bit slow going into the weekend, I'll grant you that, but do you want to do it now? Not, I don't understand. You look at the DXY, Morris, it's going up. Why? If you want to do this, we'll come back to it there finally and put our stuff up. Oh no, it's a couple of dollars been hovering around there. Wait for 10, okay. Just remind me, don't know why it's doing that. Just hope it holds, but I don't ask, I don't know. The major indicators that dollars start to recover, which is negative for gold. Even the yields are holding about 4%. They're okay, which is negative for gold. Obviously, it's a driver there. I think the Chinese thing of buying up has been done. Maybe some very, very big buyers out there for hedging purposes, fear factor purposes, or something like that. I don't know who they are, what they are, but remember, money can drive it up. In fact, remember this contract. If you've got 100 to 1 leverage, and I buy, let's say, $100 billion worth of gold, sorry, I'm sorry, $100 million of gold, my contract level size is obviously at 10. Is getting, sorry, I have to only, sorry, beg your pardon, I'm getting maths wrong there. A $10 million contract and 100 to 1 leverage, that's like saying I've got a contract of $1 billion. Even though I've only put $10 million deposit down, there's 100 to 1 leverage, and a lot of them are higher than that leverage. That means your contract value is $1 billion, not brands, dollars here. An institution can do that, and that obviously have a bit of a push up. If I've got that and I suddenly go with 100 million right now, assume I get that product, I'll put it in. I wouldn't get it all filled. Clearly, there's not that much buy and sell. I mean, you've got to get the deal filled first of all, the order filled first of all, and you've got to have enough product there for it to be filled. But the fact it's been put in as an order, and every time it moves, it's been partly filled each time. It's not be fill or kill like on here. It'll be partially filled as it's taken and the buyers come in. If you're selling it. And that will then force it down. You know, that's just amounts of money. But yeah, keep your fingers crossed. Yeah, Martin, you go in, it's a 250 pip stop. Climb, come up and down. You might jump up 100, come off 100. They're highly volatile. That's the noise of the market. That's why you got the micro, and that's why you can relax because your position size with your stop loss. I put it on there. It's comfortable with. It'll pop up and down. Okay, just remember that. So the most difficult thing in trading, well, most difficult when to get out, but one of the very difficult things is the emotional aspect is so transparent. People say they want transparency, but the trouble is in your face, you don't like it. A lot of things happening around the world are horrible. It's not in your face, you're not worried about it. But it's constantly streamed in front of you, you start getting issues. You get the point. Because it's in front of you, it's playing havoc with the emotions. But it's jumping around, so yeah, keep your fingers crossed. But if that goes up to 1850 or 1848 where the stop is, and the dollar still continues upwards, don't ask because I don't know. Ask Morris if you like, he might. Don't think so. Ask Farney or somebody, I don't know. I don't say I should know, but maybe I should, but I don't. I can sort of theory, and that is maybe some big buyers are coming in for whatever reason, best known themselves, or physical purchase in India and China, they love it. And Middle East, like Dubai, they like their gold. Okay. Anyway, Brent's doing okay. We'll come back to that now. The CHF, JPY, and the others were doing okay. I haven't looked at it for a few minutes. They seem to be doing okay, so that's not too bad. It's been a bit of an iffy week, to say the least. And not always our fault, my fault. It's been a lot of confusion and insecurity out there, which is giving a lot of, shall we say, funny movements, not a lot of confident direction. See, people naturally want to see good come in, but unfortunately, they're being reminded that the world economies are not pretty at the moment, with a few exceptions. And that's why, of course, come back to Africa. It's such a terrible tragedy, really, that probably from resources, the richest continent on the planet. And it's just been exploited, not just by foreigners, but Africans themselves, leaders, corruption, and no moral sense of standard or whatever contributed to it as well. And it's left the richest continent resource-wise in poverty, and it's quite a tragedy. Luckily, Maktoum brothers, amongst others in Dubai, realized the oil's going to run out some stage, so they made a plan, and look how successful they've been. And look at Singapore, how successful they were colonized, and they were successful. Again, nothing to do with, well, They're good guys. They're all good guys. Good guys over here. But the point is, they had a strong leader, Lee Kuan Yew. He was a bit draconian, very, very strict. Might not be everyone's cup of tea, but he turned it into one of the strongest economies on the planet. 50 years ago, it was poor old colonies. So it can be done, but it needs decent leadership. Oh God, here we go again. Mine's just come back on. Mine's off at 6 o'clock, so mine's back up again. Doesn't affect me too much. Go partial back up, but means I can't cook till it comes off. That's not exactly a train smash. It's just a minor inconvenience. I'm not worried about me. It's the overall effect it's having. Not just people business. It's the perception, the negative perception of the South Africa's handling the situation. They're probably back at you and going, well, if they could see they're doing something. But when you get these things coming like Andrew de Ruyter, it's just riddled with organized crime and corruption, and you have things like a 350 rand product is being bought for, let's say, 10 grand or something ridiculous. Then it's just riddled with nonsense like that. And my worry is a lot of incompetence. Some guy just signed it off without even looking at it. You know, put a tender in, it's a many yours, I can get kicked back, just signed it off. And again, there's too many employees. Horrible. I'm sorry if you're working there, but it's not just me saying it. Guys are really know what they're talking about. So you can get rid of 60% of the employees at Eskom. Look at that wage bill, would say, and it wouldn't make any difference. I think it's a bit unfair because look what happened to Facebook or Dion's. They lay people off. It's not happening, but there they don't. Why should they be different? You know, you're not coming to the party. If Eskom's private enterprise, they'd have been gone. March is usually where central bank policies are market price. That is correct. That is correct. We've got FOMCs coming up with an interest rate decision on the 22nd. We've got the PPI coming out on the 15th. 15th, am I right? Yeah. And we're doing a non-farms next week. We'll update you on that with the session. And I've asked to do a session the 14th. So we'll probably do a session on the Tuesday, the 14th, as well for the CPI, where we can do a session, try and trade that particular data release. Yeah. But this is the problem. Thank you, Marius. That is exactly the problem. So I want to point out, sorry I'm embarrassing Marius by this pat on the back. Marius hadn't been doing this too long, but he came up with that word, discipline. He's disciplined. He wants to take this serious. He's making an effort. And already, how long doing it? A month or two? Already you're talking like a guy who's been doing it for a year or two because he's put the effort in. It doesn't take 5 years to do it. It just depends how much effort you put in to speed it up. Yeah, absolutely. This is the problem. It's the fundamental coming out in 3 days' time is making people skittish. Absolutely. It's no good to talk about double tops, and double bottoms, and resistance support. If a big, fat, very important US fundamentals coming out, that would be all irrelevant. Bomb goes off in the Persian Gulf. I don't care what the double top says. You get the point. And that is the frustration because you don't know that. You don't know what's going to happen. At least you learn your stuff on the technicals. Now you can control the skills you're doing. But if it's just a flick of a coin, what's going to happen to the fundamental coming out? It's just a hassle, a major hassle. Yeah, and the CPI follows very closely. I mean, it's only the weekend between. So it really comes out on the Friday and the other comes on a Tuesday. It's actually 2 days later. You can't really count the weekend. So yeah, Ben will try and do something there. We might turn that lemon to lemonade in terms of advantage. But I see the DXY is starting to come off a bit, so maybe gold will come off. I'm just being facetious there, maybe a bit bitter and twisted. But it is actually coming off on the screen there, yeah. Yeah, that's too short a term. I was only just whinging there. Okay, so there we are. So that's hovering around. It looks, it'll jump around. Look at that. This has only been going for about 12 minutes. It's only 34 pips. 34 pips in 12 minutes on a trading day, not a trendy day, a trading day on the forex. That would be a big move. So it jumps around. Yeah, I see a new name there, Chazel Lama. Didn't be before, but what I'm going to do now for you, because there might be one or two I don't have, I'm just going to put up we talked a lot about the US dollar index, called the DXY. That's the code. I'm going to copy and paste it for you, because I want you to save it. What happens to the dollar affects the world. There you are, save it. The economic fundamental that Marius and I have just been talking about is when there are economic releases and they will affect the world markets. Just going to give you now, also for you to copy and save. There you are. So copy and paste those and save it and keep it minimized on your laptop so you can refer to it throughout your trading time. You don't be jumping in a major economic fundamentals coming out and know how the movement of the dollar affects world markets, etc. And again, you're not going to learn to play the piano in 5 minutes, similar with this. So remember the 3 things you need to be a successful trader. Well, a few more. Knowledge, the right equipment, and capital. If you haven't got the capital, knowledge won't cut it. If you've got the capital, no, knowledge won't cut it. If you've got the capital and the knowledge, but you don't have any equipment to place the order, you can't do it. And then after that, it's just a question of time, experience, and quite frankly, discipline. Marius is better than me at that. I'm not the world's most disciplined. I've learned over a period of time. And I can attribute most of the mistakes I've been making in my trading journey is impatience and a lack of discipline. And that's being honest with myself. I suggest you do the same yourself. Be honest with yourself. We all want to be Formula One drivers after one lesson. It ain't going to happen. It's a bit bad. Anybody have any problems with my sound? Did you hear me okay? Because it's important. I mean, if you can't hear as well, you know, obviously. Maybe I'm establishing this might be your side there. Okay, Anna Marie, I think if anyone couldn't hear me properly, I think it would have said. So I'm assuming it might be your side with the sound. Okay, thanks, Nkosi. And Solly says, and Pete says, and finally says, thanks, guys, for the report back. So the sound looks like it's not my side. Remember, I've got fiber here, and that's pretty stable. So I think it might be your side, the audio. But anyway, welcome. This is very important. You need to interact like that. A lot of guys attending are too scared. You've got to be able to interact so you can learn. Okay, so that's vital. If you don't know, ask. If I can't answer, well, I'll pass to somebody else who can, or if I can, I'll explain. Yeah, well, so do I. So that's Marius. Yeah, you're quite right. You've got to keep an eye on that. And, you know, we don't want to continue to hit people with bad news and the rest of it. We've got to face up to reality. With a large amount of people on the planet, with a few have got, a majority don't. And it's not just finance, it's education and all those sort of areas. The problem is, even a highly educated person is emotional. The problem is they usually can, with that education, put it into perspective a bit more. The lower the education, unfortunately, the more the emotional reaction. And that emotional reaction is often nearly always completely irrational, completely outside the bounds of reality. And remember, we all as human beings don't want to give. We want, not to give. And the problem with that, smiling, friendly, your best friend comes along and he says, here you are, and makes everything nice, sweet, and dreamlike. They tend to latch onto that looking at the realistic situation. You know, I'll put $1,000 in my account and make $1,000 a month without thinking that's 100% per month or 1,200 or 1,200% a year. Who does that on a consistent basis? Things like that. So it's not for me to give bad news or Marius give you bad news. Just do a little bit of thinking in reality and watch and be careful how you can be emotionally played, especially by the Instagrams, the media bases, social media, etc. They often play with your emotions. Just be careful of that. Nice one, Pete. Put off the lights, yeah. Luckily now, Pete, you've got an automatic light putter offer for you. So Eskom has actually found a fulfilled. There you are. So Eskom's quite a valuable commodity. But you don't have to do it yourself. They put it off for you. It's an automatic stop loss for you. There you are. Good old Eskom. There you are. What about that for being positive? But don't forget, on that study, Eskom Transnet, it's not just the jobs lost through lack of transport and the rest of it. It's the perception. You know, I mean, I might think George Smith's, company's pretty good product, but if I think George Smith is managing it incorrectly, I'm hesitating to put money in. That's exactly what Warren Buffett did. He looked at the products, yeah, it looks pretty good. Then they go in-depth study of the management. And if the management's terrible, it ain't going to work. You know what I'm saying? And the management of what's happening over here is not just incompetent, it's corrupt. And of course, there's very little faith. And we can't just shout down here. It's been happening worldwide. I mean, you can talk a lot about the swamp in America. It's power grabbing and getting any form of moral standard or obligation to other people around them. And to me, I don't go on about this too much, I couldn't bore you. But I still think one of the major problems we've got today is lack of trust and the breakdown of morals. You know what I mean? Yeah. Lack of trust and the complete breakdown of morals, where it's religious morals or whatever. And you go to Middle America, they have religion plays a far more important point. There's often some morals coming into it. I'm not saying religion's good or bad, that's up to you. But I'm saying it does often have a play if you do it properly. And one of the major problems is to say, certainly in the UK, there's a complete breakdown of any form of moral standard. John Lennon came out with a song called "I'm Me Mine, I'm Me Mine, I'm Me Mine," and that seems to be the overall aspect. Give you my WhatsApp. I can do that. Yeah, I can do that. You're in Botswana. Okay, so I'll put you down anyway. Just give me a second. Good thinking there. Support. Come to Pam in a minute. WhatsApp, please. Rather use the WhatsApp because it gets quite busy here. It needs more explanation than the WhatsApp. I'll call you, not on the WhatsApp number, on the other recorded line. Okay, there you are. Well, it's different spreads. If you want a highly leveraged account, fine. I have no problem with a highly leveraged account, as long as you understand the pros and cons of leverage. If you don't, rather start off on a lower leverage. Otherwise, you might be tempted to overexpose and then come back and hit you. I always say you've got to work out what you're prepared to risk per trade. Ignore the leverage. Just because you go in a bigger amount because you're highly leveraged and you're overexposed, if it goes well, big smile. If it doesn't, you're going to get margin called and it's going to hurt. Okay, Pam. Right. You see, Botswana, I'll be up front with you guys. Botswana's not regulated. We are down here. So any Tom, Dick, and Harry legally can manage your account. Now, if you know actually nothing, the guy managing your account, you might be perceived as knowing something. Just because they know a little bit more than you, doesn't say they know a lot, So just be careful. So from PAM accounts going forward, either they're going to have to, the person managing it's got to be quite upfront who the hell they are. So you can't say, I've gone to PAM and it's gone wrong or something like that. Who the hell's managing? Well, I don't know. So you've got to be clear. In other words, you've got to put your name out there. My name is John Smith, and these are my contact details. I'll be managing the account. So they've got to, they've be accountable, basically. Accountable for the PAM account. And then just make sure that guy does know what they're talking about. Because I know for a fact, probably get some backup. Some of the guys more experienced have looked at PAM, which Mark was here to back me up on this one. There's been a lot of problems with it. Guys managing with great fulfillment of the heart without actually not too knowledgeable what the hell they're supposed to be doing. And it's often ended in tears. So just because you don't know anything doesn't say the next guy does. Make sure they've got the proper bona fide. It doesn't have to have a piece of paper. I mean, they might have someone like Farney, might have an RE5 like I do, or an RPE module examination under his belt, but if he can train for 5 years very successfully, and I've just passed my certificate, legally I can advise and Farney can't, But I probably prefer to put money with Farley than myself because he's got more experience. You know what I'm saying? Like a guy brought up at the age of 8, driving on a big farm. Probably better drive, even though he's not licensed to drive, than the guy who's 17 just passed the license or that first legal drive. But make sure anyway that whether they're qualified or not, that they've got some experience. Otherwise, be a little bit aware of it. Because I know for a fact the company's getting a lot of jip on it where guys managing when they're not really that they're overexposed in, they're not having stop losses, the holding on hope is going to come right, and that's usually the amateur form of trading. So yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong, but to make sure, like the management, like I mentioned earlier on, nothing wrong with the company, but if the managing correctly, that's from a classic example. Nothing wrong with the product, it's just not being managed properly. So make sure that it's okay. And you will need some funds. I don't know what you got in your account, but I'll give you an example. If you've got less than $50 in your account, Charles, I can't help you. I'm wasting your time and my time. It's just too small. You need $50 or more. If you've got $150 or more, you'll be on the VIP. Just tell me, WhatsApp me, tell me, and you'll be uploaded to the VIP WhatsApp group where all that basically means you get more signals. Okay. The reason why you get more signals is because you've got enough money to cope with them. There's no point sending 5 signals to a guy with $30 in their account. You can really hardly afford one, never mind 5. And if they're on the 5 to 1, they think because the deposit's so small, the leverage is so high, they go with 2 or 3 and then find a little bit of movement like the NAS. They got the stop where the black line is here, and it's moved up here and they've gone short, and suddenly their margin called. They're too big and they haven't got enough funds for it, and they can't have no free margin left. Bang, the margin called. They start complaining. Why am I out? The stop loss up here. The first thing when they mention that comment means they haven't a clue about trading. They should not be driving a car or trading if they have so little idea. They don't even know the basics. That will come back and bite. Remember, guys, it's a zero-sum game. And if you lose 10 units, someone else has done it. The likelihood is the guy who's done the 10 units knows a bit more than the guy who lost. And that should be clearly obvious. So, yeah. Basically, don't try and get cute. This is a green one, and I'll go and buy that. Oh, that's a red one. Go and sell it. You got to understand that there's a bit to learn, you know. Taking overall views, and don't worry about scalping as yet. If you're a beginner, you know, do like Mara, do a bit of research, and know what you're doing, and then you can start playing around with step 2 and 3. Don't break the speed limit till you know how to drive, basically. And always say, quite common sense, because I'm all these exams, but 9% when I'm answering somebody, I'm just saying, in my opinion, it should be the obvious common sense. I'm doing trading, just think a little bit. But I think their mind's so flush with greed, they don't think. How many times he says, I can't place a trade, says I haven't got enough money. Well, I guess, well, what do you think that means? Clearly, you know. I didn't see that, sorry. Not in front of me, beg your pardon. GBP-AUD, thanks for reminding that. Thanks, Peter, I didn't see that. GBP-AUD. Yeah. What do I see there? Let's do the weekly first. Be good to me, actually, yeah. There's a bit of resistance here on the weekly. Bear that in mind, okay? The daily looks pretty good. Lower highs, or this, remember this work in progress. We can't recount that. Still, that's lower highs, okay? Let's look at the 4 hour. Yes, the 4 hours looking pretty good. So weekly a bit iffy. Day and 4 hour looking pretty good. Try the 1 hour. 1 hour's also looking good. So it's looking pretty good, guys. Stop loss up here. Does that give me enough? About a little bit higher, one above the round figure, 7, 8, 10-ish. And then we're going to take it down here. Yeah, we can do it down to here. Not bad at all. Only thing is, on the weekly, just bear in mind, it's come down, testing that. So it might get a small bounce. That's just be aware of that. And this might be a few times, see the 10-day moving average there. And they're used quite a lot. They might say, I'll take a bit of a profit bounce. Remember, that's short covering bounce. And all that means they're exiting their short by buying, a little bit of a bounce. But if we got the stop out of the way, we can't pick bottoms and tops. That's a bit of noise. Otherwise, I agree. Maybe make it 77.40 as the answer. How are we going to get a bounce for the 15-minute? That seems to be there holding. Should we mark it or should we go for a 77.40? What do you think? But I actually tend to agree. Do you want market or just maybe 77.40? What would you prefer? Give me a bit of feedback on that. Well, I have to say on the 15 minutes holding there, maybe market. There we are. Should be holding. Get along, get the stop out of the way. So well, maybe I don't know what the stop is. 1.781. Oh, just above the round figure. TP we can take down here. Make it around figure 1.76. What do you think, guys? Looks pretty good, eh? Who spotted this? Lebo. Well, if Lebo spotted, he's clearly traded before. Lebo, yeah. Well, I have to say, well spotted. I like it. Yeah, I agree. Any backup on that one? If I get a bit of backup, I'm going to copy and post this to trading support. Maybe I'll send it out. So if it goes wrong, I blame Lebo. If it goes right, I'll take the claim. And I'll share it with Pete for reminding me. I'm only kidding. What do you think, guys? I like it, Pete. I like. Pete likes. Lebo, you like it. It's your idea. Anybody else? Yeah. Well, furiously looking at it, give you a few moments. You guys like it, good enough. Just a second, I'll put this down and I'm going to copy and paste it. Give me a moment, guys. GBP, AUD, sell, 17735, 1.7810, 1.76 on the nail. What's it at? 95 bucks a shot. Great. A few people like it, so do that one then. You're not coming up, it's just going to see. So this crap's getting in the way of my screen, so it takes so much, I can't see a thing. Right thing, right in the bloody rats, quite like it. So like it, just to give me a moment or two to do the, you know, the 0.02 thing. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So there we are. See how that goes. It's quite working. Good. I'll do it now in case they want it. I'm just going to write the stuff down. Levels. Yeah, the levels. Okay. Just give me a second. Go back there again. Just you have to do this. Sorry to do this again. There's some wrong with calculations here. There. Okay, now so I've got that sorted out. Sorry to hold up there. Just mention that will go out to the VIP group. So whether it's in the VIP group or not, the fact that you take the trouble to come to trade room means you're automatically on the VIP group, so you can see the trade clearly. No, so, oh no, you can't take this not the VIP group. No, that's nonsense. If you can afford it, just remember, if you go in with a 500 rand account, that's 20%. That's hectic. 500 rand, you can't really trade, to be honest. Every time you can be overexposed. But if you want, you can. 1,000 rand is 10%. One. So 2,000, it's 5%. So you might want to go a little bit higher. It's up to you. But just bear in mind, make sure the percentage of your balance is in accordance. You don't go 50% of your entire balance in one trade. That's clearly overexposed. Just do the maths on it. But yeah, it's coming right as we speak. Well bloody spotted. So yeah, there we are. Nice one. Sent out. Celebro, you're a star. Thank you for the trade works out, but thank you for the idea and reminders I was waffling on. Didn't see it. Thank you very much, Pete, you're a star. And both of you are. Thank you. But if you don't receive it, you got less than 2.5. The reason is you're not, if you haven't got 2.5, you're not going to receive the signal. But you'll know it anyway because you can see it. Hope that makes sense. Okay. Just a second, just make sure the link's been sent out. You should get it any time now because they're definitely sending it out. Tell me when you got it, guys. You should, in theory, get it on your sorry, give me a second. Things at once. Just sorry about this. That'll be a typo coming. Right, just put the banner on the group, posted myself. See the banner come up the group. I know that. I just posted. Just want to know when you've actually received the signal. Okay, that's on your WhatsApp group for VIP clients. Just update me on that. Receipt. Thank you, Martin. Someone's on the board here. Brilliant. We need to speed that up. I know they've got other stuff to do, but this is important. We've got to get that thing out. It's not getting out and ship for sale. Okay. What was the other you're looking at? There's AUDCHF. I think we had a signal on that a couple of days ago, didn't we? Yeah, we already got one out there, 63.53. Martin, unless you're already out of it, was that just a second? Hang on. Marius, yeah. We've already got a signal out on that. As I said, mentioned this morning, we've been going for a couple of days or so now. It's been a hell of a slow, but we got in at 52. So we won't be sending another signal on that out. We've already got one. Now we're giving different signal, different prices. That will really confuse everybody. Yeah, the banner you will get, I post the banner. That's not a problem. It's the actual details of signals what I'm not more interested about. Yeah, so leave that one. It's feeling okay, let it go. But if you want to join it, Marius, you know, it's up to you. But I'm certainly not going to get guys joining a lower price than the original signal. That would make no sense. Okay. But yeah, the banners I post, when I get the banners sent to me, because we've obviously got the, what you call it, the graphic artist does that, bangs it on one of the WhatsApp groups. I'll then copy onto the VIP group, which is, as you can see, what I've done. And then they will then check to see it's got $2.5 grand or $150 or more, and then post it out to all those guys. So the guys will see that signal, and when they haven't received it because their bums have dropped below those levels, even though they'll get the banner. I'm not chopping and changing it. I'm working for the people on it. I'm going to keep checking every day to see if bums have dropped a couple of bucks below or not. So they'll get the daily updates. It's not a problem, and they'll get the banner. That's from me. But after I've received it, we're on the same page yet. But the signal is where I want to make sure you get details. That is. That obviously is the important part. Good. We're all clear on that. Okay, so no, doing okay. That's happened. Gold's giving us a jip. What's happening to the dollar index? Popped up last I looked at it. No, it's hovering. Is the dollar going anywhere? Hovering about a $2 range. Giving a bit of a worry, but still. What time? About 11, isn't it? I can't remember that. It's a good signal. I'll check it there. Yeah, 11:30. PMI, well, I can bug this up, I suppose. I don't know. Luck of the draw. Got to trade some stage. Got to trade some stage, yeah. I mean, it's not a day goes by, something comes out. I tell you what, can make a suggestion. What's the trading GBP AUD? If it's off about 20 pips and it's before 11:30, what was it? GBP AUD, that's correct. If it comes off 35, it comes off to maybe 15 or lower, something like that, just before the release, 2 or 3 minutes before the release, no more than 2 or 3 minutes before the release, 11:30, maybe a stop down to break even in case some disaster occurs. I don't want a disaster to occur out of our hands. If that disaster doesn't occur, get your stock back. Unless the things drop like mad, then you can obviously replace the stock in a better level. Hope you understand what I mean. Then you're not going to be stuck in a problem. Should have thought of that earlier in the week. Then we would have been, well, other guys would have, the trade room guys wouldn't have been caught the pants down. And no disrespect, Martin, I don't want to catch you with your pants down. Okay, good. Okay, maybe we should ignore that gold for a moment and come right. Sterling's not helping. Let's look at Swiss straight up a bit. Good. That's starting to come right. What's up about 35 pips. URAUD. That was Gerard's one we're looking at. Not really. Don't see why it should. Remember, America's affect everything, but I mean, pounds now, Brexit. I know the trading partner, but it might have a little bit, shouldn't be that big. See, we haven't really got the confirmation anyway. Oh, you took it. Do you take it? The URAUD. You haven't really got confirmation yet. But anyway, to answer your question, well, it's a trading partner, but I don't think it's going to be devastating effect. Brexit, and it's the Eurozone is much larger economically than the pound. I don't think they're going to go and jump off the nearest cliff because the pound's battling. You know what I'm saying? Pending, yeah, well, fair. Don't think it's going to make much difference. Could be wrong. Daft things happen, but I don't think so. Okay. What do we get on that down anyway? 22, up 40 pips, bugger all. Okay. All right, see what happens. Here's one I quite like the look of. This one here. Is it follow through? No, I'm not going to follow through. Remember we mentioned yesterday, so you get a better price. It's only 90 pips. I don't like that. Put the stop up here. We're not going to get a risk reward. I like to do this. So we can just get back up there somewhere. I think we can do it. Maybe if we can get up to maybe 106.60, I think the chance was short if the dollar's still strong. Down again. Keep an eye on the euro dollar. Okay. If it can get back above 105 on the DXY and it gets to 106.60, I think the chance of a sell. I don't know why it's not getting the bloody detail. Definitely put him on there. Give me a second, just posting something for a guy. He's on the group. I don't know why he's not getting a signal. Ask me if he wants the detail, which should be getting it. Anyway, never mind. Move on. Okay, not a problem, Dirk. As long as you're doing okay, that's the main thing. As long as you're happy, you're doing okay, you're learning stuff. That's so we agreed on 106.60 on. Okay, that's fine. Oh, I wouldn't be going against the trend, mate. If you feel that way, it's up to you, but I'm not sure about that. Remember, they tend to follow the Americans, whether it's a FTSE or not. No, not really, no. Sell the rallies, in my opinion. And quite frankly, the UK is the worst state in America. But no, I sell the rally. I wouldn't be buying that. And if you did, where are you going to take it to? Yeah, 60 pips. Where's your stop? Yeah, 100 now. You can't get the maths in the buy. Go about 60 odd. Yeah, that's not exactly 2 pips. What's that among friends? Yeah, I might get some more upside if you want to scalp it. Like there, it's holding on resistance. If anything, I'd be looking to short it. I'd be short this. Hey, Morris, hey, if you support me on this, world economics is not looking good. The major economic powerhouses are battling. Eurozone, which is the biggest, and then America. China's had a bit of a good run, but they've still got their issues. Japan's got a massive debt problem. Pound ain't so pretty, as I mentioned. And that's Brexit now, it's separate. The only ones that seem to be okay is the Swissy. If you agree on that, I'd be looking to sell the rally. I'm not sure I'll be buying it now. Even though it's the 4 hour, looks like it, I get you. It might pop up a bit more. I'm not saying go to get in now, but if that holds up, I'll look to short it. If it comes up at these sort of areas, 8,000, I'll be shorting it. Yeah, I'm with Israel on that one. Give me a second while you think about that for a while. Just go to the boys' room. Good. Thank you, Morris. Good stuff. Okay. All right. Time 10 minutes to go. Any clarity? You've all got the DXY, the rest of it. Just take us a few moments to do what I normally do. I think most of you know, but just in case, don't forget to right click on your chart, go to templates, there it is, and save your template. If you lose your charts, save it, put your name in there, okay? And if you lose your charts, just right click, go to templates, and there you save charts, and they're up and running again. Do that right now if you haven't done it. Don't forget, get the calculator. You cannot trade without knowing what your budget is. So you've got to get those figures right. And it just spares me when people don't get the calculations right, because it comes back and bites. You get the calculator, make sure you get your volumes right. It's absolutely imperative. Specifications, you want some information, left click, right click, go to specifications. It'll give you the contract value, in this case, 100,000 for all of them, by the way. All the forex 100,000 of that unit. Which is the pound, £100,000, whatever. Just make it around $100,000 plus minus. There's your margin. If you divide that figure into 100, it'll give you a leverage, and there your information that you really need. Okay. Occasionally you can't short it. You want to know why? Right click, and you go down there, and it'll tell you. There it says full access. You buy or sell it. Let's go in the S&P 500. Give me a bit of jip there. Don't think it's been sorted out. Right click, left click, right click, left click on specification, go down, there's your spread. So that's 12 pips. So clearly it's higher than the other ones. So it tells you spread, it tells the contract size, gives you the margin, and it also says close only. So you can't open trades on that. I'm asking you, why would you? When you've got a perfectly good one with the NAS on the micro. Before, people using the S&P because they couldn't afford the NAS, now they can. So why go to S&P? So it's better product. So there you are. Hope that's all clear. Yeah, so just cover those quickly. Any more information? Don't forget, if you haven't got the 200-day, it's the brown line. The 50-day, you should. Very important. The internationally used, very important. Less of importance, but still important, is the 100-day, the black line. And this is my choice. I quite like it. It's the 10-day shorter term. All simple. If you like them, put them all four on. For any case, put these two on, the blue and the brown line, thicken them. If you don't like the color, change to what you like, but make sure you know which is which. And it is a filter for the sell, medium, neutral, and buy zone, and it works for all charts: the 4-hour, the daily, the weekly. It doesn't matter. It works all of them, even the 15-minute if you like. It's a good area to support resistance. We're not talking about one crosses the other. They're all lagging indicators, but it is clearly there at some sort of area to put a TP in if you're going short, or if you're selling, hits this, comes off. It's a good area to enter, etc. So that's part of areas you should have. Put them on there and then right click, save it, and then you've got your stuff up and running. If you like the other indicators, fine, that's great. But it's always wise not to touch your charts up. And basically, always bear in mind RSIs and all that are oscillators. However, they do follow the price action. That's why I keep it up here, so I can keep an eye on it. What the buyer and seller is doing in the price action, you can clearly see the gaze immediately below the candle. That's what the price action. It's all about the price action. Okay, bear that in mind. Okay, hope all good. Hope you're getting there, Gladys. Been with us a while. It's starting to some bit falling into place. That's Gladys Diccioni. A bit starting to come right. Starting to get a little bit clearer. Okay, maybe not heard it. Okay, thank you, Solly. Thank you very much. Any other question for you, Rebecca? Absolutely. You have a good weekend, guys, as well. Absolutely, Anne-Marie. Thanks as well for the contribution, as always. Yeah, I'll just come in case anyone wants to say anything before we leave. Right, I muted you off for the background noise. If you want to say anything, please do. If you want anything just before we wrap it up for the weekend. Don't forget, next Friday, we'll be doing an afternoon session on Friday for the non-farms, and we'll do an earlier session on Tuesday for the CPI. Just bear that in mind. We'll update you, but in the moment, you go from the horse's mouth. Okay. Thank you, Farney. Thank you for supporting as always, and Marius as well. And Lebo, thank you. Hope that trade comes right, and thank you. Don't forget, if before the release, it's about, what's it, 11:30, I think. If you're in a decent profit, that's too close. Don't modify now. If it's below, let's say 20 or 15, something like that, far enough away, quick modification in case trouble occurs on the PPR where that's coming out. And then if no problem, then put your stock back accordingly. Okay. Any other questions before we wrap it up? Are you good there, Shaza? Oh, he's left already. Okay. Gladys, you good? Remia, I think it's your first time joining. Hope you're not too confused. Remember, it's a forum. You need to join in like the others. Otherwise, you might get left behind. Okay. All right. Everyone seems to be good. Right. So, catch you Monday morning and have a great one. Hope the weather holds as well. Cheers, guys.